Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Noway. People know me, the people that know me, I should say. They know me from my podcast on Is There No Way Out uh, from the No Way Out Radio Network. It's just a podcast that I've been doing for a few years, and it's nothing big or anything, but it's something that I enjoy doing, bringing the truth to the people. See, I see a lot going on in the world today, and it's not nice. It's not good. Many people are being duped into, basically, they're being shamed, not duped, but they're being shamed into thinking and believing and doing as the very ones that created the problem want you to do. Where I am grounded in the Bible, I can see what's going on in the world because I have that relationship with Christ that was asked by us to have. I can see where what went on back in the days, even for the 3 years when Jesus walked on the earth, what he saw, what he corrected, what he was bringing forth to the people, we're seeing it play out again today. The so-called authoritative figure over the people in Jerusalem in the time of Jesus were not doing what was best for the people. They were doing what was best for themselves, to keep themselves in power, to have the authority over the people, and be able to push their will onto the people. But they did it in the name of God. So what do we see happening in America today? Ladies and gentlemen, we have the same thing playing out in America today. Our government is very, very corrupt and is not doing anything that is good for America. But I've seen something that kind of, I can't believe it when I see it. I see good American people bowing down to what they are being told to bow down to. Because, if they're going to shame me, and if they're going to shame me on TV or on YouTube or on their podcast, well, I better watch what I say. You see, I understand. I'm doing this video right now, and I'm going to put it on YouTube. That is what I'm going to do. But you see, I understand and I know there has to be certain words that can't be put in there because of their censors that look for those words. And they look for anything that is proving the evil is what the evil is. You need to understand, yes, we are a country of laws. But when those laws start mandating tyranny and oppression of one group to benefit another group, when the laws are shutting down one's group of free speech to even defend themselves against the group that is slaughtering them in the street, there's a problem. That's not a law. Those were what the communist dictators always used, what Nero used against the Israelites. It's a decree. It's one man's delusion. But now we have a government that has put that delusion onto you. They are tugging at good people's heartstrings about all the atrocities of these illegals. And while now the government is not taking the children from the parents. The parents are coming up to the American border and they're abandoning their children. So their children can get into America. And then once their children are in America, well, we have the progressives and we have the bleeding heart liberals and we have our corrupt government that wants everything that you make destroying America from within. Now they want you to believe that they are taking the children illegally and just stripping the children from their parents. And they're not stripping their children from their parents. The parents are abandoning them. They're leaving them there to get the anchor child into America to where hopefully they can show up, or they can come into America, they can get on the welfare system, and they can ship the money back to their parents in Mexico. It's a big game, and you're being lied to. You want to help them? I watched a video this morning. You want to help people? Then you give of the gifts that God has given you. And you give it to somebody who is going to be a good steward of that money in God's name. And they are going to take that money that you give them, and they will give the helping hand to all the people that they see around them that need it. The needy people. The people, the good American hard-working people that have been driven into homelessness, into a tent in the desert somewhere by the very government that you protect and that you fight for and that you listen to. Well, it's not my candidates that did it. It's your candidates that did it. No, it ain't. It's government as a whole. And that's the great deception. Do you think the school systems care? Do you know $285 billion a year is spent in America on higher education? So what kind of higher education are we getting today? We have 7, 8-year-old children in school systems being told by the school, number one, you don't have to be a boy or a girl if you don't want to. Our children cannot even look down at their body and determine if they are a male or a female. Because the school system wants them to be convinced that, well, you can be whatever you want to be. There's 66 genders. There's 66 different recognized genders today. God doesn't exist. The government is here to provide for you. And they're not being told that the government cannot provide for you unless they take it from me. Ladies and gentlemen, I am at the ending of my time on this earth. The end of my book has been shown to me. My emphysema is going to take me out. And it's going to take me out a lot sooner than many may think. But it is what it is. And in my time remaining, what kind of good Christian man would I be if I sit here and I play a victim? Or I carry on that, hey, the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars the government took from me for all the years that I made good money in a career. And now they're telling me I'm not entitled to any of it. But I have to watch the Somalis, so-called Somali refugees that should never have been brought here in the first place, and put in amongst the general public on welfare by the Catholic Charities of Maine. The Catholic Charities of Maine received millions of dollars saying that they would provide for all these refugees. So, of course, the government sends them all these refugees. And they go into the cities and they dump all of the refugees on welfare in Section 8 housing. So now that they have food stamps, they have free housing, free medical, free education. Right. The Catholic Charities of Maine is putting the money in their pocket, and they're putting the burden of all these people and all these so-called refugees onto your back. And now you know what's happening now? Why don't you take a look and dig through and just look for Kennedy Park attack. And don't look through your mainstream media, ladies and gentlemen. Look through the independent people that are telling the truth. We now have a roaming gang of Somali Muslims in Lewiston, Maine, for the past 6 to 8 months have been beating people, terrorizing people, running drive-bys by the parks. You bring your family to the park and Muslim gangs are driving by and they're shooting at you and your kids with BB guns and pellet guns. That they're going to the local Walmart and buying with the welfare money that, well, the government provided for them. And guess who's protecting them? The unionized public sector law enforcement. The state, the city. They're protecting the Somali Muslims. While our school system is demanding that white men are the problem. White men are the oppressors, and they need to be destroyed at any and all costs. And yes, I hear way too much of, you want me to feel sorry for these refugees when they destroyed their country. They allowed the government in their own home country to destroy their country, and now they're going to come here and they're going to bring their same belief here that destroyed their country, and now I can't speak out about them wanting to destroy my country? Well, I'm going to. And God gives me that right to stand up against the heathens and the evil and the atrocities and the sin that people love to indulge in daily. I have that right, God given to me, to speak out. Why? Because my breath is still holding in there. And so is my voice. And so is my determination to, well, let me put it bluntly, spit in evil's face. Whatever that evil looks like. We cannot sit back anymore, ladies and gentlemen, and allow our government, our schools, and our media, and the society of heathens, of communists, of Nazis, and yes, they are, because they're nothing but Marxist, fascist. We have to stop this in America, or, well, sit back and kiss your butt goodbye. Because if you're not willing to do what needs to be done, well, don't think I'm going to do it for you. I only have a few years left on this earth. All I can do is try to turn as many people to the right side of God now. Because tomorrow the government will not allow you to. Our school systems, our unionized public school system, is teaching your kids there are 66 recognizable genders, God does not exist, and the government is here to provide for you everything that you want. And it will be paid for by others. So don't come crying to me that your taxes are too high, that you just lost your job. Because see, most mouthy liberals today and progressives, they're all on some form of public assistance, a public union job somewhere, or people that just don't realize of why you don't have anything. You can't make a living in this world. You don't have an education. You don't have any job skills or life skills at all because it wasn't taught to you. So why is that my fault? And for those of you that want to start saying that I'm just a typical white male, a Micmac Indian. and Scotch-Irish. So like always, you're only going on half-truths, and as, well, the Bible says many times, your own ignorance. You are ignorant to the facts. You want to judge because I don't, what, butter your ears with sweetness that make you feel all good about being a failure? You know, that's what it is. That's what your participation trophy is all about. Rewarding failure. So in life, the government thinks that they can continue to reward failure as long as you blame me for your failure. I learned a trade. I started at the bottom and I worked my way to the top. And then my lungs took me out of the game. But now I'm not entitled to nothing at all. Because I guess I'm just a white male. I guess that's discrimination then, isn't it? Because look right here. See this? Those who think they know everything annoy those of us that do. It's just a t-shirt. It's just a joke. But you know how many people get triggered when they read that? Their first response is to lash out at me. I'm my ego and I'm a know-it-all. No, you know what I do know? I know the Bible. I know what Jesus would do. I'd love to be a fly on the wall and have Jesus walk into just one of our public schools today and say, hey, judgment's here for all of you today. Those of you that can see me, heed this warning. There's a big tornado coming and it's going to level this place. And you're not going to be able to get out. Judgment has come upon you. Has come upon this school, these teachers, these administrators that are claiming I don't exist. That are claiming socialism is good. That is telling you there are 66 recognizable genders when my Father only created 2. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a reason behind all of these strong storms and droughts and floods and blizzards and never-ending. They can blame it on global warming. They can blame it on whatever it is they want to blame it on, their fake science and their opinionated fake everything that they put out. If you were given $2 million from the government and the government wanted you to prove that the earth is warming, wouldn't you only give the government the exact information and word it and create it the way it needs to be so the government can go to the people and say, see, look what this scientist just found? Because are you going to give them the facts and the truth? You're not going to get your money next year now, are you? So you are giving yourself over to the world. If you're holding world views of that the atrocities going on at the border is all because the people of America are just such disgusting people, then you're not getting the truth. You're being deceived. As I said, those parents are abandoning their children at the border for a free life that they're hoping that they can get their hands on after. You want to help the people of Mexico? Then you stop doing business with Mexico. You stop all of Americans' companies going there and slave labor. Do you know that a Levi's factory down in Mexico right now, they pay their workers 18 cents an hour? 18 cents an hour. The people building, sewing and making the jeans that you pay $30, $40 a piece for, they can't even pay that amount. They can't even buy the product that they're producing for you. So why is it my fault when an American company, through the corruption of the government, shuts down the American factory, goes down to Mexico, and pays slave labor in sweatshops, claiming it to be humanitarian aid? No, you stop all that atrocity. And you go down there and you force the government, the people, to stand up against their own government, because you take away the ability for the government to oppress the people. Because when you're doing business with Mexico, then you are enabling the corrupt government that is protecting and enabling the cartels that are shipping drugs into America, oppressing the people, creating slave labor. You see, you're not getting the truth. So if you're going to call me out for having a problem with illegal immigration, then get your facts straight. Because I'm not going to entertain anything you have to say at all. It's pointless. As the Bible says, it's pointless. Don't sit where the mockers sat. Don't adhere to the wickedness of the world. Don't think you're doing good in the name of God when you're not doing good. You're doing good in your eyes, but it's costing somebody else everything. If it's one thing Jesus made clear, you do not harm another. But if you're sitting there demanding the government do more for people that are coming here illegally, then you're harming me. You're harming my family. You're harming other families, because the government is taking from us to give to those that deem it is their right to have what they have not earned. So again, I'll say, what has Jesus taught us? What has Jesus taught us? We do not deserve anything that somebody else has made for themselves. And we need to stop trying to convince people that it's the righteous thing to do for the government to take from you to give to someone else. Come on. Learn the truth. Read the Bible for yourself. The churches today are so far gone from truth or reality that we're in the great falling away. Our children are being forced into an indoctrination system nationwide that is convincing them that they can be whatever it is they want to be for a gender. God doesn't exist, and you're being forced to pay for all this atrocity. Enough is enough, ladies and gentlemen. It has to stop. We have to stop being righteous by, what did the Bible say? You give a man a fish, he eats for a day. You teach a man to fish, and he eats for a life. How much simpler than that can you get? So why are we continuing to give people and demanding that's the righteous way by giving them a fish a day to eat instead of teaching them how to fish and feed themselves for a lifetime? This is where we need to start getting the record straight. Because if not, don't get mad at me as the country continues to fall apart. If you're not standing up to the secular humanist world out there that is demanding that you bow down to them and that everything is acceptable, you cannot tell me that you believe in Christ and then attack me because I speak out against this homosexual movement through America that is creating Sodom and Gomorrah in our modern time. I condemn no soul to hell. I condemn every sin. I will teach you the righteous way, and I will show you the truth, that what you are thinking and what is in your head today, 90% of it was put there by man that has alternative motives. And they've gotten you not to believe in what you're reading for yourself in the Bible. You know what's righteous and you know what's right. Let's stick to it. Let's stand up and like God was teaching, and the Bible says, when you know the law is being forced onto you by your government is unrighteous and wrong, you don't have to follow them. But be prepared to be punished for your disobedience to them. I'd much rather be punished by man for my disobedience to man than I would be of being punished by God and Jesus for my disobedience to them. I will never lead anybody astray or anybody down the wrong road. But let's find the righteous path together and stick to it no matter what. Look for those that are doing good. Look for those that know, like the video I saw earlier, it's research. It's looking at things going on. It's people, real people, showing reality and what is real, not what's manufactured. The atrocities going on within the borders and the immigration, yes, we understand what's going on. We understand it's all political and it's all being created to tear down and destroy America. But in the meantime, there's many suffering people out there that need a blessing. They need a blessing of any sort. They need to understand we don't hate you. We love you as a brother or a sister. But you need to understand we cannot provide a life for you that you were not willing to try to provide for yourself. And see, that's one of the greatest lessons of Jesus. When you pray to God and Jesus because of something you need, does that God just go and poof, there it is? There's $1,000, $10,000, a brand new car. God just doesn't give it to you. God does open up a door and show you an opportunity for you to do it for yourself. You have to be willing to do for yourself. And God can help you along the way. He can show you the opportunities. He can open the door. You need some extra money? Well, this person over here needs some help. This person over here has something that needs to be done. So you're going to be a blessing to them, and you're going to do that job for them because that is your skill, and you can do that skill. And I know you can. So you're going to help this person, and this person's going to pay you for the job that you did for them, and there's the extra money you needed. Now you see how God works. That's how God works. God's not just going to give you something for nothing. You have to be willing to give of yourself, of the gifts God gives you. What has God blessed you with? What God has blessed you with is not the government's to take. But what God has blessed you with, it's your responsibility to use those gifts wisely in a godly manner. If you're giving to government and saying, well, I'm helping the needy because I'm giving it to the government, well, then you're not helping the needy because the government's helping themselves. They're not helping the needy. But if you go out and you see the needy and you see the homeless and you see the destitute and you put a smile on their face and you provide something to help them out and show them and start teaching them how to fish instead of giving them a fish, you may give them the fish the first day. Don't get that lesson wrong. You can give them the fish for the day while you teach them how to fish. Because we all know you teach somebody how to fish, and until they perfect it, they could starve. So you give them that fish while you're teaching them how to fish. And then once they have learned how to provide for themselves, maybe they'll pay it forward. Maybe they'll go on, and now that I'm fishing, I've got an extra one here, and I can help you. But while I'm helping you with this fish today, let me show you how to provide for yourself. You see, that's missing today, because for the government to have power over you and to prove that God has nothing to do with nothing, then they are demanding that you provide that fish a day. That's your responsibility because I say so, that you must provide that fish a day for those families. Oh, don't worry. If you fall on hard times and you can't provide the fish a day for yourself, well, that's okay. This guy over here will give you one. See that cycle? That's the evil cycle that we've been told to get away from. So that's what I have for today, ladies and gentlemen, of Noway's message to the world. And as always, this is No Way Out.